I added the Freemasons to Minecraft's most unhinged mod. When you spawn in a world, it might be hard to tell what you're supposed to do, but the guidebook isn't very useful. Well, if you shift right click, you get an actually useful version of the book. You can type in a number, and you'll get a fact about progression. And it's in order. So hopefully this should make it easier to figure out what you're supposed to do and how certain items work. Cities are no longer the safest biome in the mod because of these new enemies. Thieves and gangsters will spawn extremely frequently in city biomes. They'll always be there to attack you and shoot at you and completely screw you over. They also have like a ton of health, like a ton of health. There is a way to save yourself, however, from these new threats, but it only works if you're going down the landlord branch of progression. If you don't know, there's two ways you could play this mod. You can play it normally, or you could play as a landlord. And if you want to protect yourself from city threats, you have to be a landlord. Let's start by visiting a building. Now you can see there's the rent block in here. We can input $100 to buy the apartment, and then we can rent it to tenants and get money. Then we're a landlord. So let me start by buying an apartment. The next thing we gotta do is keep an eye out for a new structure. This new structure is as common as the public library, but it's a little bit smaller. The Landmason Lodge. The Landmasons are a guild of wealthy landlords. They've come together, create a coalition, and they protect each other from the urban threats. Those urban threats being hoodlums, rapscallions, thieves, gangsters, robbers, crooks, stuff like that. If you right click on their altar, you can join the Landmasons. If you input $100, which is as much as an apartment, you'll be given the Landmason card. Now this thing is going to make our lives in cities significantly easier. You'll notice now that it's nighttime, we don't really see any thieves or gangsters anywhere. That's because as long as we have the card, they functionally don't exist. You see, it automatically despawns any thieves or gangsters that are near you. So once you have the Landmason card, you pretty much have nothing to worry about in a city biome. The city biome is back to it was before this update. And yes, it doesn't kill hobos, so you can still sell drugs if you want. Although you will notice something. It loses durability every tick, and it has 24,000 durability. This means that it'll break after a day of having it. And once it breaks, obviously you can't use it anymore. But you can recharge it. You see, the reason why we bought an apartment earlier, because if we right-click a tenant block with the card, it gets repaired. We renewed it because you can only be a landmason if you are a landlord. So you have to verify that you're a landlord every single day you have the card. Also worth noting, you can't just buy one and have the card forever, because if I keep repairing it, after 5 times it'll say you can't use it anymore. Now it's no longer usable. This means we have to buy another apartment to renew it again. And now I can renew it as much as I want. And by as much as I want, I mean 5 more times until I have to buy a new apartment. So yeah, it gets expensive to keep, but that's the price you gotta pay. It's pretty worth it for something that makes an entire biome not a threat. There's a ton of new threats and gadgets coming in this update. Let's start with the new boss. To summon this new boss, you have to craft a suspicious looking disc. And you craft it like this. The reason why it's like that is because this is from a mod that I made a while ago. And if you don't know, I'm trying to add everything I made in my previous mods to this mod, which is why things like this are getting added. But yeah, once you have the suspicious looking disc, you can summon the new boss. This boss isn't needed for progression, but it is an optional thing to anyone who might want it or its drops. Right click to summon, similar to the enlightened one. The Jukebox Mimic. The Jukebox Mimic shoots music notes at you. Pretty easy, but he also chases you down slowly. These music notes have a lot of knockback, so going melee isn't honestly the best strategy. Yeah, this boss is pretty difficult. Getting beetle armor is not a bad idea for this. This is a very, very, very optional challenge, mostly because I don't recommend doing it. At least doing it the way I'm doing it, which is kind of just trying to slash it with my sword, which clearly isn't working. Once you kill it, it drops a random music disc, and there's a lot of discs it could be. So if you're trying to collect every disc in the game, this isn't a bad way to get them. Now let's talk about the new enemies. All these enemies will spawn at night, semi-rarely, and a few will spawn in select biomes. Let's start with the Sturdy. The Sturdy will spawn in most biomes at nighttime, and it's pretty rare. It'll chase you down slowly, but notice I can't actually damage it with my sword, and arrows are no use. This is because this enemy can't be attacked with ranged or melee attacks. You have to kill it with fall damage, TNT, fire, poison, stuff like that. So I'm going to see if I can get it in a hole, and then I'll just put TNT on it. There you go. Now it should be pretty easy to kill, because he's actually pretty weak besides those defenses. Never mind, that didn't kill him. That's surprising. Alright, I'll burn you then. I promise he doesn't have that much health. When you break his armor, he turns into a shadow creature, which is pretty weak. Shadow creatures can drop gel, coal, and echo shards. Next on the list, the brown spider. The brown spider will poison you if it touches you, and it will just leap at you like a regular spider. It also can't climb walls. Next is brittle bones. Brittle bones is like a regular skeleton, but it actually won't shoot at you. It'll try and do melee attacks. And if you punch it, it'll shoot bones in all directions that have a lot of knockback. Kind of dangerous, not that hard. It's honestly like the homunculus if it wasn't a boss. At least in the sense that it has the same attack. And when you kill it, it drops weak bones, which can be turned into 2 bone meal. Next is the gift. This isn't an enemy on its own, it's actually a present for you guys. Next is the tropical arthropod. This is the same as the brown spider, but it's faster and it will jump at you. It only spawns in jungle biomes and others. Meet the frenzied livestock. It's an infected cow that will try running at you to kill you, and it explodes into locusts when it dies. I should mention locusts are also a new enemy coming in this update. This is the leper. The leper is a weaker zombie, but when it's damaged, it summons rotten chunks, which will jump at you. Rotten chunks are just silverfish that jump at you, and they don't go in blocks. Relatively easy to kill. The lepers can drop brown mushrooms and other stuff. This is the doppelganger. The doppelganger only has 1 HP, but it runs really fast, and it instantly kills you. That's right, it does 999 damage. So I would advise killing this thing whenever you see it. Luckily, they're weak, and they make wither noises, so they're really loud. They're also extremely rare. They explode into locusts and drop sodium when they die. Meet the defender. The defender summons defense blocks around it to protect itself and to make your life harder. These blocks destroy after 2 seconds and can be broken pretty fast, but they can definitely trip you up. When the defender is killed, it can drop a defense rod or defender blocks. Defender blocks are just the blocks that it spawns in. You know, they disappear after a few seconds. Don't know why you would, like, seek these out, but I guess they are kind of cool. Also, the defenders create a lot of ghost blocks. I don't know how to fix that, so just a fair warning. The defenders also drop defense rods, which let you place blocks mid-air that you can build off of. You can also do goofy shenanigans like this. I'm literally just using the scaffold hack, but legitimately. One of my favorite items to mess with in creative, I'm not gonna lie. That purple thing over there is the gateway. The gateway is a flying mob that spawns other mobs. You can see it spawns lepers, skeletons, slimes, and silverfish. They're pretty easy to kill, but you actually can't kill them with melee attacks. You have to shoot an arrow through the gateway so that way they die. And you can see it dropped a lot of stuff. What did it drop? String, spider eyes, more string. That's pretty terrible, but it can also give you other stuff like dimensional shards, which are normally pretty rare. Remember the ended dragon? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, the ended dragon has some new loot. So that way, instead of just being the final boss, it actually drops something good. Also, it's not going to be the final boss for much longer because I want to add more stuff after it. Here we go. New stuff. We got raw dragon meat and dragon scale. Similar to beetle scales, you can craft armor with the dragon scales. Let's take off that old beetle armor. Let's put on that new dragon armor. Dragon armor provides very high defense and knockback resistance, but it also has a set bonus. If I shift with an empty hand, I shoot explosive charges. Terraforming has never been easier. Now, dragon meat can be cooked, and dragon meat is just really good food. Like, gives you a lot of hunger, a lot of saturation. Pretty good. But yeah, that's all the items coming in this update. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, join my Discord, follow my Twitter, Play Industrial Basis, subscribe to my second channel, visit my website. If you want to suggest features, suggest them in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.